Alright everyone, I just want to apologise for looking tired and sick throughout today's episode. It's because I'm tired and sick. Subscribe. Can I put the phone down now? Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video, it is time to move past the sickness and the sadness from Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to leave that in the rear view and turn our attention to what lies ahead, because what lies ahead could potentially be the knockouts of the Europa League. But before we go any further on with today's video, as always, a special mention and a special thanks to this month's sponsor, OneFootball. They are absolute legends beside the green logo, whichever side it is. I always get it wrong. I think it's doing it this side. They are really helping the channel out, so if you want a wee bit extra free football content, the link will be down there in the description below. But it's time to get down to business, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, we are going to be turning our attention to the opposition, and we're going to be previewing the Swiss champions. And it's weird, and maybe it's a bit of fate if you believe in that type of thing. Our next opponent after what happened on Sunday is another team that we didn't deserve to lose to. But instead of poor officiating and poor finishing, which cost us on Sunday, it was two massive mistakes and poor decisions from the captain that cost us the last time versus Young Boys. Honestly, to this day, I've still not quite got over the way that they managed to not only get back in the game to grab a point, but the fact that they would have come away with 3 points in that game of football sticks in there because the goals that they scored were like hand-wrapped presents for us. And from that moment forward, everything just started to click into place for Young Boys. Result after result after result. Everything was gone their way and they were absolutely flying. But more recently, everything sort of just halted and it's almost like their luck has completely changed and they've slowed right down. I mean, their fantastic undefeated and winning run was completely halted by Servette when they bet them 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that was a massive shock and surprise to everyone, but then they followed up their touch started to fade. They started to draw with Feyenoord. They had very close back-to-back games in the Swiss League where both games finished 4-3. Their defences were absolutely all over the place and they started giving it gifts for goals. And more recently blown an early 1-0 lead versus Porto to end up losing the game 2-1, conceding 2 goals within 15 minutes in the second half. And in that result, by the way, that was massive because not only would have saw them come through if they managed to hang on and not fold like a deck of cards, but it would also have seen us qualify. So thanks for that. But something I've learned from this Young Boys team now than what I did previously in my first preview against them is how absolutely all over the place at the back they are, but also the fact that teams are no longer scared to go after them because that is their weak point. When you get in their face and when you drive at them, they seem to be struggling, and it's not just the good teams like Basel who pumped them 3-0 a week ago. It's not just them. It's the teams nearer to the lower of the league. They're like, no fear to them anywhere. They're like, oh, we figured you out. You're not the big bad Young Boys for last season or the season before. You struggled defensively, so let's go and get it. So that's why you're seeing the back-to-back games 4-3. That's why you're seeing teams nearer to the bottom of the league surprising them and pumping them. They have a real weakness right now, and they're absolutely bleeding goals, keeping only 1 clean sheet in the last 7 games, and that was just on Saturday, by the way, versus the team that's second bottom. So when you consider all that and you look at all the evidence most recently in their form over the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's definitely encouraging on paper, and you might think to yourself, oh, this might be a wee bit easier than expected. But all I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, even with this massive blip, they're still sitting top of the Swiss League, and they go into this game versus Rangers with the opportunity still to top the group in the Europa League, and they've done a lot of talking saying that's exactly what they're going to do. So yeah, they are struggling right now, but are they capable of raising their performance for a single night, being fully motivated to qualify for the knockouts? Absolutely. They aren't a bad team, lads. It'd be silly to think so. They have a couple of cracking attacking players and they have a couple of very good playmakers. It's defensively, they're absolutely all over the place and there's mistakes there every single game, but they do have the attacking players that seem to bail them out, which, if we're being honest, sounds a bit familiar. And with that being said, that's pretty much going to be it done and dusty for the Young Boys previews. I'm not going to pick out a couple of individual key players or speak about who in their team's very impressive. We've seen it with our own eyes now. We've seen this team play. We know what to expect of them. So I'm not going to bore you guys and try and drag the video out. Nah. Instead, we're going to turn our attention to where it belongs most, and that is on Rangers. Now, before we dive into the official Rangers press conference and give our recaps, there's a lot of potential outcomes for this game of football. What if this happens? What if this happens? So let's try and break it down and let's try and make it as simple as possible so we all know what scenario works and what doesn't tomorrow. The most obvious one, I think everyone knows, if we win tomorrow versus Young Boys, we top the group no matter what else happens with the other game that's happening in our group. And that's also the best scenario as well, because it gives us the opportunity to go against everyone who's finished second. Now, there's a couple of big teams like Roma and stuff like that, but it's much, much better than playing everyone who finished in the top seed. And lastly, if we win tomorrow, we will definitely avoid both Inter Milan and Ajax, who have dropped from the Champions League into the Europa League round 32. If we win tomorrow, there's no chance that we could be drawn against them. If Rangers draw the game tomorrow, no matter what else happens in the Porto game, doesn't matter if they win or Feyenoord win, we will still definitely go through. And we could still potentially go top of the league with a draw, depending on how the Porto-Feyenoord game go. If Porto win that game, however, which they are heavily expected to do, that means that they will go top and we will go second. That will mean that we will be drawn against teams that finished first in their group, the likes of Manchester United, the likes of Arsenal, or the teams that we previously just mentioned, both Inter Milan and Ajax would be up for grabs if we finish second. I also just want to confirm, by the way, because I've seen a couple of questions saying, can we draw Celtic in round 32 if we finish second and they finish first? No, it can't happen, but the round after that, then yes. Yes, it can. And last but not least, let's say Rangers lose tomorrow versus Young Boys, knock on wood. That doesn't happen. It would all go down to the Porto-Feyenoord game, which we've already sort of previously covered. If Porto wins, that means Porto and Young Boys will go through. But if Feyenoord beat Porto and we lose tomorrow, we would go through because of the head-to-head, and the 1-0 goal from Mr. Ojo would pull us through to the knockouts. Now, I hope I've explained that pretty clearly. I've had to make a lot of cuts because I keep coughing, but I'm pretty sure I've explained that. I do apologise. It's my fault. It's no you if it's no came out properly. But this is the two teams. If we finish top, this is the teams that we could potentially play. If you want to pause your screen, pause it now. Why am I like this? And if we finish second, that's the potential teams that we could play. Pause now. So yeah, even though there's a lot of potential outcomes that could see us reach the knockouts, I think it's when you compare both potential pots of opponents for round 32, it's definitely better with a win tomorrow. But now it's time to turn our attention to the official Rangers press conference then, shall we? And the first topic we're going to discuss is something that really riled me up when I heard it. Now, just to give you full context, just in case you didn't know, obviously after the full-time whistle on Sunday, there was pictures of Ryan Jack crying and Gerrard going over and consoling him and stuff like that. Well, there was an absolute fan, Dan, and I'm not going to waste anyone's time by saying his name, but this unnamed bag of ass came out and basically said, oh, Ryan Jack crying is a psychological edge for Celtic, because if Celtic had lost, that would Scott Brown have been crying, basically telling Ryan Jack to man up. Now, I didn't want to drift too far away from the football because I know that's why you're all here, but honestly, that just stuck with me in such a bad way, because we all know what's going on right now. We know there's a massive problem. There's a lot of men out there suffering in silence because they are worried about idiots like that saying if they show their emotions, or if they open up, or if they speak up about what's going on, they'll be considered weak. And there's not even a shred of weakness in opening up and showing your emotions or speaking about things that's upsetting you or on your mind. So for the record, if you are struggling with that, definitely go and speak up. Don't let idiots like that get in your head and make you think that you're weak just because you're not feeling right or you're not feeling good. It's okay to not feel okay, lads. So speak up if you need to speak up. And this is absolutely blew up and everyone's having their say on it, and it was obviously asked in this week's press conference, and I could not be prouder and I could not be happier in the way that Gerrard responded. Now, I know I always say this, but go ahead to the official Rangers YouTube channel and watch it. In fact, I'll even leave a link down if you'd like to see the full thing. I'm just going to pull out one single little sentence that he said because I think it sums it up perfectly, but the entire thing is definitely well worth a watch. But the one short sentence that I found so powerful by Gerrard is the fact that he almost rubbished the idea with his face and fired in with, I'm going to make no apology for my players' reaction. And then he spoke on and obviously defended Jack, and he spoke about his own previous experience, and I loved that. But the way that he just sort of turned the entire question and almost just made it seem utterly ridiculous, which it is, by the way, is exactly what was needed to be said in response to that question. This whole psychological nonsense and all that, just throw that to one side. That is utter drivel and utter trash. Gerrard answered it perfectly, and he defended Jack to the hilt, and that was brilliant to see for the gaffer. Now, before we wrap up and jump over to the latest team news, there is one last thing I would like to discuss, and I think it gave us a lot of information that we're not really used to having from Steven Gerrard, ladies and gentlemen, especially in press conferences where he doesn't really give anything away. I think this single thing we're going to talk about gave us more information about the game tomorrow than any of the questions that was asked combined. And what's funny about it didn't come from the media. Of course not. No. It wasn't even a question. It came just a simple statement from Steven Gerrard. I don't think I know a lot of people's looking into it, because it's an interesting thing. You go, oh, right, okay. But the more you think about it, it tells you exactly how we're going to play tomorrow. Now, just in case you don't know what it is, it's obviously the fact that Gerrard brought up that Rangers in their history have never ever topped a 4-man European group, and that awaits them tomorrow if they do their job. And him mentioning that tells me absolutely everything about his mindset onto this game. He's not going to go into the game all cautious or feeling sorry about Sunday. He sees another opportunity to get these players into the history books at the Glasgow Rangers, and that waits them tomorrow if they can get to where they need to be, and if they play at their best, I think that's definitely possible. So that was a very interesting one, the fact that he brought up there's a chance tomorrow to go into the Rangers history book. So I think it's fair to say we won't be playing defensively. And with that being said, let's jump over to the latest team news then, shall we? And unfortunately, our good run of luck, I should say, with injuries has finally stopped, because there's quite a lot to break down and discuss. The first one is going to be Hollander, who has a foot problem. Now, there's no timescale given. He's expected to be missing for the short term, but they won't find out too much more information until the scan's done, and he's expecting that tomorrow after the game. So it looks like Big Katic is back in for a start. Stephen Davis, who was obviously missing at the weekend, is unfortunately going to be missing definitely for tomorrow, as he's not ready to come back and play some football. Edmondson is listed as a doubt because he's currently ill. However, Gerrard expects him to be okay by game day. And the last one is going to be confirming that Jordan Jones will also be missing the game tomorrow. However, he did play 60 minutes yesterday. He did look very good in the youth game, so that's getting closer and closer and closer. And with all that being said, that is the preview, that is the team news, and that is the what if scenario wrapped up in a neat little bow. Now though, it's time for me and thee to get involved in the comments and give our prediction ons. I'm expecting a performance from the Glasgow Rangers, especially after what happened on Sunday, but I'll tell you what, I'm also expecting young boys to play a hell of a lot better than they have been recently as well, but I just think we're going to be too good for them. If we are at our best, I think we are better, the young boys, and if we turn up and at our best and we are properly motivated, I see Rangers coming out with a 3-1 victory. My goal scorers are Morelos hat-trick. And now that me and thee have had their say, let's dive over to Twitter then and hear from the people. There's already been 1,783 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. 4% votes for young boys, 8% votes for draw, but 89% of the people votes for our Rangers win. So let's see what they've had to say then, shall we? Faraz Akram writes in 3-2. He's going to go with Arfield, Morelos and Katic to score. Oh man, why did I completely blank on Katic? I'd love the big man to score for set piece. It's sauce set up in it. Faraz, you're on it, son. Peter Ramsey writes in Rangers 3-1, Morelos, Arfield and Katic. Alright, he's making me look like an arsehole. Mike G writes in 2-0 CJ. Need to get the feel-good factor back. Morelos and Tav I'm going for, and hopefully no fear allowed into the game. Yep, I certainly hope so, and they've showed why they shouldn't be allowed. Dino writes in, okay, Jack is fit, 2-1. If not, 2-2 Morelos, dirty double. Sarah 03 writes in 2-0 Morelos and Jack. And the last 2 or 3 that we'll read out, the first one comes in from Chris Morrison, and he writes in 2-0 to the famous Tav and Alfredo to get the goals. Logan writes in tough game, 2-0 Morelos double. And the last one we'll read out, we'll scroll all the way down here, and we'll scroll all the way here, and we'll stop it here, and it actually comes from Lewis. Sorry, Lewis had to go off there, mate. But he writes in 1-0 Rangers and a Ryan Jack goal. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. And as always, I've been CJ over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.